So just recently, Steam released their 2024 Game Award winners, and to no one's surprise, Black Myth Wukong won Game of the Year. And the thing is, this just highlights a major point within the gaming industry that shows right now how wide the divide is between gamers and media outlets. It's been obvious for years now, and with the recent Game Awards Game of the Year choice and just how much media attention is given to the somewhat toxic relationship between gamers and the gaming industry as of late, including this vid, I'm not saying I'm above all of that. However, it's clear to see that gamers and the gaming industry just don't see eye to eye right now. It's kind of funny how we got to this point, because the gaming industry is the only industry that I know of where the producer of a product are in active disagreement with their customers, because both of their viewpoints are so diametrically opposed that neither party is actually any closer to being reconciled. Gamers will say that they want to have attractive characters to look at while they play their game of choice. The industry will give them,
it's like a fan club, but we...
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Gamers will say, I don't want any social politics in my game. I don't want to have to be reminded of the real world, because that's one of the main reasons why I'm playing the video game. The industry will give them,
so I'm non-binary.
What?
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
Throughout the Game Awards 2024 show, there was one key moment that stood out because it gave rise to a voice. It showed exactly what gamers thought about the gaming industry.
And the Game Award, 100% by the global community selected this, goes to Black Myth Wukong. Congratulations, Game Science.
The Player's Choice Award showed everyone who gamers wanted to win Game of the Year because it represented their choice. It represented what they chose as gamers, and it was universally seen as the Game of the Year. It may not have been everyone's Game of the Year, but it showed the majority of choice. It showed what gamers felt should be Game of the Year. It wasn't even my Game of the Year, actually. My Game of the Year was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Fantastic game. I really enjoyed playing it, but I respected the decision because it represented what the majority of gamers felt. This is what we want as Game of the Year. This is our choice. The Steam Awards and the Player Choice Awards showed that. It showed we as gamers collectively decide that this is what we think is the Game of the Year. And every other gaming media outlet that didn't use players' votes as a metric chose something completely different. And if that doesn't show the divide between the gamers and gaming industries right now at the moment, I don't know what will.
So Black Myth Wukong won Game of the Year. Isn't it interesting how every single place that's a fan vote, one thing happens, and every single place where it's not a fan vote, something different happens? Wow. What are the odds?
But it would be okay if it was just Black Myth Wukong. If the divide could only be seen at the Game of the Year and people said, okay, this is the only divide we have, that would be fine. But it's not just Black Myth Wukong. It's literally nearly everything within the gaming industry right now. It's sad to say, but it's gotten to a point where gamers collectively agree that traditional gaming media does not represent how gamers feel right now. And it's sad because it feels like gamers who have helped build up an industry to a point where it's so successful feel that they have little to no representation on the big stage. So what does the future look like for both gamers and the gaming industry as a whole based on the current situation we are in right now? But the truth is, before we can even start thinking about the trajectory of the gaming industry in the future, both parties have to acknowledge that right now there is a divide. I've seen so many cases from people from both parties who just pretend or completely ignore the discourse around each other's differences. You got some game developers saying that they will continue to create and push forward their ideologies upon their games, despite not being accepted by what they call racist, homophobic, bigot, sexist, and downright unwashed masses. You know, I'm still yet to find a company that's successful after describing their customers that way. While on the other side, you have gamers who ridicule and attack other gamers who speak out against any of these things that they may not agree to being put into their games, stating with their generalized term that you shouldn't really care about this, or rather, why do you care? It's not a big deal. Yeah, the devs who spent millions by putting in visual effects, voice acting, and inclusive gameplay did that because they didn't care. It wasn't a big deal to them. Like, seriously, what kind of argument is that you don't have the right to care about this because they didn't care about it? Well, of course they cared about it. That's why it's in the game. The good thing is that despite the lack of acknowledgement from both parties, we still have great companies out there who give the gamers what they want. You still have the Larins of the world, the Grinding Gear Games, the Saber Interactive, Capcom, Game Science, companies who know what their customers want and just give it to them. The Black Myth Wukong situation is just a case study that shows the existence of this divide. But it doesn't really have to be.
The game of the year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit. And they didn't make decisions they knew were short-sighted and function of a bonus or politics.
The future still shows hope. And the truth is, for gamers, we will always have good games. There will be companies that give us good games year in, year out. We'll play them. And it's a much more simple experience for a gamer, because if you don't like a game, you just don't play it. If you see something within a game that you don't like or just doesn't sit well with you or doesn't align to what you believe in, you just don't buy it. That's your right, your opinion, and you're very much entitled to have it. But the ramifications for a game studio or company is completely different. Gamers don't buy your games and you fail. You close down as a studio, people lose their jobs, and it's a horrible situation. That's my 2 cents anyway. But hopefully this is 2025, a new year. Hopefully we'll have a better year and the divide will be less, if there can be anything such like that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm hoping to reach 100 subscribers by the end of January. So yeah, please leave a like and subscribe. But yeah, until next time, stay blessed. Peace.